Video, we are going to learn about graphs of functions of the form y equals ax squared. So, to identify some basic properties of the graphs of the functions y equals ax squared, we'll engage in the following activities. In this function y equals ax squared, a should be a non-zero number and y is defined as the function. First, we are going to consider the instance where a is a positive number. That means a is greater than 0. To identify the basic properties, first of all, let us draw the graph of the function y equals x squared. Here, the value of a is 1. Therefore, it is a positive value. To draw the graph of this function y equals x squared, we have to find the points that we have to mark on the Cartesian plane. Therefore, we are going to prepare a table of values to find the y values corresponding to the given x values. Here I have made a table where x values varies from -3 to +3, and we have to find first we have to find the value of x squared, and then we can find the value of y because they have given the function is y equals x squared. So let us complete this table. When the value of x is -3, x squared will be -3 into -3, it will be +9. -2 times here it will be +1. 0 times 0, 0. 1 times 1. 2 times 2, 4. 3 times 3, 9. And y values will be the values which we obtain for the values to the raw x squared. So I can fill the table like this. Now we get the table like this, and now by using this table we can obtain the coordinate points that we need to draw the graph of the function. First coordinate pair will be -3 and +9. Next will be, we'll write the first one will be -3 and +9. Next one will be -2, +4. Next coordinate pair -1 and +1. Next one will be 0, 0. Next one 1, 1. 2 and 4. And the final coordinate pair will be 3 and 9. Now, these are the coordinate pairs that we have to plot on the Cartesian plane. Now, first we have to prepare a Cartesian plane. Here you can see the y varies from +9 to 0. And x values varies from -3 to +3. So you can draw a suitable Cartesian plane and plot these points on that Cartesian plane, and then you have to join them smoothly such that you will get a graph like this. This is the graph of the function you obtain for the function y equals x squared. Now let us observe some properties of this graph. The curve that is obtained as the graph of a function of the form y equals ax squared is defined as a parabola. That means this shape is known as a parabola. Next one, the graph is symmetric about the y-axis. Therefore, y-axis is the axis of symmetry of the graph. The equation of the axis of symmetry is x equals 0. That means when you follow this drawn graph along this y-axis, it will coincide. That's why it is known as this y-axis is the axis of symmetry, And the equation of this axis of symmetry is x equals 0, because along this y-axis, the x values take 0. That's why this line is defined in the equation x equals 0. When the value of x increases negatively, that means from -3 to 0, the function decreases positively. Now let us examine. Here the value decreases positively. The function decreases positively. This is the function. Function means y, and function value decreases positively when the value of x increases negatively. Same way, when the function increases positively, the function increases positively when the value of x increases positively. That is the next sentence that we have drawn there. When the value of x increases positively, that means 0 to 3, the function increases positively. Okay, now to identify some common properties of the graphs of the functions of the form y equals ax squared, where a is a positive number, let us draw two more graphs on the same Cartesian plane that we drew the graphs of the function y equals x squared. Here I have selected another two functions, y equals 3x squared and y equals half x squared. First, we have to complete these tables before we plot the points on the. When the x value takes -2, x squared will be positive 4. When you multiply x squared value by 3, it will be 12. Therefore, y value is equal to 3x squared. Y value will be 12. X is equal to -1. X squared will be positive 1. 3x squared means we have to multiply this value by 3. That means 3. 1 times 3 is 3. And y value will be 3. X is equal to 0. X is equal to positive 1, x squared equals positive 1, 3x squared equals positive 3, and y is equal to 3. X equals 2, x squared equals 4, 3x squared equals 12, and y is equal to 12. Now you can take the coordinate pairs -2, 12, -1, 3, 0, 0, 1, 3, and 2, 12 to draw the graph of the function y equals 3x squared. Now, let us complete this table. When x is equal to -2, x squared will be positive 4. Half x squared means you have to multiply this by half. That means divide this by 2. When you divide it by 2, it will be 2. And here will be 2. -1 squared means positive 1. 1 divided by 2 is half. And here also you will get half. You can identify the pattern. 1 divided by 2 is again half, and here also half. 4 divided by 2, 2, and y value will be 2. Therefore, the coordinate pairs will be, you can take the coordinate pairs and plot these graphs on the same Cartesian plane that you drew the graph of the function y equals x squared. This is y equals 3x squared, and this is y equals half x squared. So you can see that all these three graphs, all these three functions go through this point. That means go through the origin. These three graphs has a minimum point. Now, to identify some common properties, we'll consider the above three drawn graphs. The graph is a parabola with a minimum point. The coordinates of the minimum point are 0, 0. You can see that this is the minimum point, and the coordinate pairs of this minimum point is 0 and 0. The graph is symmetric about the y-axis. The equation of the axis of symmetry is x equals 0. The minimum value of the function is 0. That means minimum value of the function means minimum value of x. So, minimum value of y is 0. In all these three graphs, the minimum value of the function is 0. The function decreases when the value of x increases negatively and reaches the minimum value at 0. The function increases from 0 when the value of x increases positively. So these are the common properties that you can identify in the graphs of the form y equals ax squared, where a is a positive number. Now let us consider this example. Now, by examining the function, write down for the graph of the function y equals 2 over 3x squared the equation of the axis of symmetry. You don't need to draw the graph of this function. Just looking at this equation, you have to write down the answers. Here you can see this graph. This function is of the form y equals ax squared. Therefore, the axis of symmetry will be x equals 0. Then the coordinates of the turning point, you know, it has a minimum value, and the minimum value, the coordinate pairs will be 0, 0. Next one, whether the turning point is a maximum or a minimum point. Here a is a positive value, so you know it has a minimum point. Okay, now there's a question. They have given you an incomplete table of values. Prepare to draw the graph of the function y equals 1 over 3x squared. First, you have to complete this table and draw the graph of the function. So, you have to first find what is x squared. Then, you have to find 1/3 x squared. That means you have to divide the value by 3. When the value of x is negative 3, x squared will be positive 9. Then, when you divide it by 3, here it will be 3. The answer which comes here will be 3. X is 6, x squared will be 36. And when you divide 36 by 3, the value will be 12. So, the graph will be of the type like this. It will be like this when you draw the graph. And then they ask you some questions. The equation of the axis of symmetry of the graph. So once you draw the graph, you can see the equation, this graph is symmetric about the y-axis. Therefore, y-axis is the axis of symmetry. And the equation of the axis of symmetry will be x equals 0. The coordinates of the turning point of the graph. So this is the turning point of the graph because the function decreases positively, and when it comes here, it again increases positively. So this is known as a turning point, and the coordinate pairs will be 0, 0. The maximum or minimum value. You can see it has a minimum value, and the minimum value of the function is 0. Therefore, these are the answers.